talking about Zakat, which is the third pillar in Islam. We spend so much time talking about Tahara and Salah and various kind of Salah. And we ended with Salat al-Jum'ah and Salat al-Eid. And we'll try, inshallah, today to begin our discussion with or about az-Zakah. The word Zakah linguistically means one of the two meanings: increase or purification. When we say Zakah, we refer to the growth or the blessings. That's why Zakah, the word Zakah, interestingly in Islam, means growth. So when we give away part of our money, this is not, in fact, not a loss of money. In fact, it is an increase of our money. And in the Quran, Surah At-Tawbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ صَدَقَةً. Take from their wealth sadaqah. And we'll talk about the word sadaqah also. The word sadaqah has a linguistic meaning and technical meaning. تُطَهِّرُهُمْ وَتُزَكِّيهِمْ بِهَا. With which, with this sadaqah, you purify them and sanctify them. So for the sake of purification, when we give, Rasulullah ﷺ said that when you give part of your zakah, you are purifying the rest of your wealth. Because sometimes we don't know. Our income might not be 100% halal. So with all these mixed halal with not halal, when we give away our zakah, that would purify not only our hearts, but will purify also the rest of our wealth. Also in the Quran al-Kareem, Quran also talked about وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. And zakah here purifies. Okay, so purifies and also helps himself to grow in iman and in intelligence and in piety and so on and so forth. So when we purify ourselves, we are increasing our good. So this is the linguistic meaning of zakah. The word sadaqah also is used interchangeably with zakah, but usually when we say sadaqah, what comes to our mind is the voluntary sadaqah that we give extra. So, and zakah, we usually use the word zakah when it comes to the zakat al-mal that we give once every year. But again, both have the same meaning, the word sadaqah and the word zakah. In Al-Quran also, Al-Quran Kareem talked twice about the believers. In one place in Surah Al-Ma'arij, it says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَالَّذِينَ فِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ. Ma'loom, you know what ma'loom means. Ma'loom, known. حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ. There is due portion of their wealth, حق, should be given to the fuqara. This is the right of the fuqara. حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ. Ma'loom means well known, as we will talk inshallah later about how much and so on. So this haqq ma'loom, if you are a farmer, then this is the haqq ma'loom of your zakah, 10% or 20%, as we will see. Gold and silver and cash and so on, 2.5%. That's haqq ma'loom. But in another surah, in Surah Al-Dhariyat, he subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ فِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. The word ma'loom is not mentioned here. And the ulama said here is not talking about the obligatory zakah that should be spent or given in a particular time, in a particular percentage, right? So that's haqq ma'loom, zakah, zakatul mal. But here, Al-Quran says, وَالَّذِينَ فِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. There is due right for the needy and the poor in their wealth. So the ulama talked about the rights of our rights other than zakah when it comes to our wealth. Is it only zakah? That if you pay zakah, there's no more dues? The ulama said, no, that's not the case. There are also some other spending that is also obligatory. Like what? Like when you have guests, you have to be nice to your guests and offer the best if you have, right? If your brother or your sister are in desperate need and they need your help, you cannot say, you know what, I'm sorry, I paid my zakah last month, you have to wait for another 12 months, then I'll give you my zakah. No, you have to help them immediately. If your grandfather or grandmother or aunt or uncle living with you, you are the only one who can take care of him or her, then it is a must, it's obligatory upon you to spend on them. So these are plenty of haqq ma'loom, haqq in our wealth than zakah. So وَالَّذِينَ فِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. Zakah in Mecca was made obligatory, but with no specific percentage of one's wealth. Al-Quran talked about sadaqah. Quran talked about sharing, about giving وَالَّذِينَ وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. They feed the orphans, the captives or prisoners of war, and the poor, although they love the food. They love the food, but that's another form of jihad. To give others while you are in need. That is one of the high level of jihad al-nafs. You practice jihad against our own desires and give away something that's dear to us. But in Medina, now there is a community, and there must be an economical system, and the system was built around this concept of zakah. In the first year after the hijrah. Of course, it is the third pillar of Islam, and there are plenty of rewards for those who give zakah. We need to, alhamdulillah, I assume that we all pay our zakah, but we'll have more knowledge about the details, inshallah. And it's also equally important to know the reward of giving zakah and the punishment those who do not give their zakah. So we usually start with this fada'il. As we said, the ayah said, خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. Ordered Rasulullah ﷺ to take from their wealth صَدَقَةً تُطَهِّرُهُمْ وَتُزَكِّيهِمْ بِهَا. So we have to make this connection between the legal aspect of zakah and also the spiritual aspect of zakah. Everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made obligatory is extremely important. We cannot live without it. We cannot imagine a Muslim community that does not pray or not come for Jum'ah. That there's no community without these things. Or we cannot imagine a Muslim community without fasting or without giving zakah. There must be collection of and distribution of zakah. But تطهرهم وتزكيهم بها. تطهرهم, of course, the word تطهرهم, to purify them. This purification is also spiritual purification, because by nature we are stingy. We won't keep everything for ourselves. That's وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ قَتُورًا. We talked about this a few nights ago. Man by nature is qatur. Qatur means gives just very little, if he gives at all. Qatur. But when we give, we are purifying ourselves from our selfishness and sharing and giving with others willingly. We are doing something against our nature. That's why, again, it is a form of jihad. And also tutahirum, as we mentioned, it also purification for the rest of our wealth. And of course, as-salah and as-zakah are mentioned together in 82 places in the Quran. You say, أقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة ويقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة أقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة. Always zakah comes after salah in 82 places in the Quran al-Kareem. And this makes a lot of sense, that this is the pillar of the spiritual and social community, and also zakah is one of the pillar of the economical and social systems in Islam. We cannot imagine Islam or Muslims without salah and without zakah. That's why Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu decided to fight those who refused to pay zakah. It's not because the amount of money or the economy of the state will that's not what the point. That was not the point. Abu Bakr made it clear. Wallahi, I will fight those who separate between salah and zakah. And he made a very good statement when he said, أَيَنْقُصُ الدِّينُ وَأَنَا حَيٍّ. يَنْقُصُ الدِّينُ, would Islam be decreased and big part of Islam be cut off and deleted while I'm still alive? No, that will not happen. That will not happen. Because today is zakah, tomorrow will be salah, and so on and so forth. So he said, no, I will fight those, because these Arabs or Arab tribes who came to Islam because Islam was growing, politically strong, and many people joined, but Iman was not strong in their hearts. And they tried to find an excuse not to give their zakah. He said, well, we used to give zakah to Rasulullah, and he's Rasulullah, and Allah told him, take zakah from their wealth and pray for them. وَصَلِّ عَلَيْهِ. So Rasulullah, every time he received the zakah, someone, may Allah bless you and may Allah bless your wealth. And he prays for them. So now Rasulullah is dead. Who's going to pray for us? In other words, they tried to find an excuse not to give because they thought or interpreted the Quran as if zakah is to be given only to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ignoring so many these 82 verses that talk about aqimu salah wa atu zakah. So he was Rasulullah. Abu Bakr is not Rasulullah. He's not a prophet, right? So they decided not to give the zakah, but Abu Bakr just want to make it. That's what I call it murtaddeen. That's ridda. That's getting out of Islam. That's why our ulama made the distinction between those who do not follow the orders of Islamic law or Sharia, although it is wrong, but this does not get the person out of Islam. If someone made a mistake or did not fast or did not pray, this does not make him non-Muslim. But the one who denies the validity of Sharia or denies zakah is one of the pillars of Islam, then he's out of Islam. Big difference between the two. Perhaps both of them are not paying zakah, but one because he's lazy or stingy or whatever, but the other said, no, who said that zakah is obligatory? No, that's not even part of Islam. You can be a good Muslim without paying zakah. This is not Muslim anymore. So denying salah or zakah is different from not doing them out of laziness, right? And I found this beautiful hadith when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made it clear, and this is something for us to think about. The poor will never suffer from starvation or lack of clothes unless the rich neglect their deen. That's what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Every time you see starvation or extreme poverty, you should immediately get the second picture. Or if you divide the screen into two, as we do sometimes. Poverty here, stinginess and greed there. People have so much and they're not satisfied. They want to get more and more and more and don't care about those who die. So, as we mentioned many times before, poverty is it does not come as a result of lack of resources. This earth has much more than what we need as humans, as human species. We have so much. Allah gave us an abundance. Everything we can think about. Poverty is not a result or the result of lack of resources. Rather, it is a result of human greed. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about these people who don't give their share, they don't share their dues, is that if they do, the wealthy, Allah will surely hold them accountable and punish them severely, because they're not giving their share, and they, as a result, they are oppressing and causing the suffering of these people. And I'm sure you have seen pictures and you heard about droughts and famine and lack of resources. 80% of the world population are suffering because of the 20% are taking 80% of the world resources. We're living purely in a world of injustice. And injustice causes a lot of wars and conflicts and bloodshed and so on and so forth. So human greed perhaps is one of the main sources of calamities and wars and bloodshed and suffering for many people. Even these wars that believed to be incited by religion, it's not religious wars. Most of the time, it's all about power and grabbing power and forcing people's agendas. And the hadith also, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about the reward of giving zakah. Or sadaqah, this also applies to voluntary sadaqah. ثلاثة أقسم عليهن وأحدثكم حديثا فاحفظوه. Rasulullah said, I swear by Allah. I swear by Allah, this is true. Three things. One of which is ما نقص مال من صدقة. Rasulullah does not have to swear, of course, but he swears. أقسم, I swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ما نقص مال من. Your wealth will never decrease as a result of giving sadaqah. If you have a calculator, you have this amount minus this sadaqah, decrease, right? The number goes down, of course, mathematically. But Rasulullah لا ينطق عن الهوى. لا ينطق عن الهوى. He does not lie, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he don't make this oath unless he wants assurance this is absolute truth. And we have seen this in our life, subhanallah. The more you give, the more you get, unexpectedly. How many times it happened like this? When you give something you love or like for the sake of Allah, Allah will definitely replace it with so many. In the other hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Inna Allah azza wa jalla yaqbalu as-sadaqati wa ya'khudhuha bi yaminihi." Allah accepts the sadaqah and takes it with His right. We don't know what does it mean, His right, right? So I know some will ask. Right. Take it with His right. فَيُرَبِّيهَا لِأَحَدِكُمْ كَمَا يُرَبِّي أَحَدُكُمْ مُهْرَهُ أَوْ فُلُوَّهُ أَوْ فَصِيلَهُ. So when someone gives you a newborn horse or camel or any other animal, and with the intention of growing it. So you keep feeding this animal for a few months, and then every day you notice that it's growing. This is exactly what happened when Allah takes the sadaqah with His right, and then He invests it, subhanahu wa ta'ala. It grows. That's why it's called zakah. Keeps growing, 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 growing as you grow your sheep or your camel or your cow. Just think about it. And الحسنة بعشر أمثالها. One hasana at least multiplied with 10 times. But in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said 700 times. الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في كمثل حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل في كل سنبلة 100 حبة. Now 7 years, and every year there are 100 seeds. So 700. One seed gives 700 seeds. This is the example of those who spend في سبيل الله. In Surah At-Tawbah also, أَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ يَقْبَلُ التَّوْبَةَ عَنْ عِبَادِهِ وَيَأْخُذُ الصَّدَقَاتِ. Don't they know that it is Allah who accepts the repentance from people and receives the sadaqat. So Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha, before she donates, she used to put perfume on the coins that she is donating. She said because it goes in the hand of Allah before it touched the hand of the needy. That's why she wants to make sure that's clean and smells good and nice. And that's why when we give, we should give of the best of what we have, not the worst of what we have. Because Allah takes it first. And you will find it. مَا عِنْدَكُمْ يَنْفَدْ وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ بَاقٍ. What you have goes away. But what you give to Allah stays. It's not going to go anywhere. With our wealth, we're buying food and we eat it, and then we buy furniture and get old and throw it away later, and buy clothes and then become old. So this is something that you're using for your life here. But what you save with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not only saved but also grows, as He said subhanahu wa ta'ala. يمحق الله الربا ويربي الصدقات. Surah Al-Baqarah. يمحق الله الربا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroys the barakah or takes away the barakah from the money that comes from riba. Although the word riba means increase also, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroys it. وَيُرْبِي الصَّدَقَاتِ. And He increases the sadaqah. Subhanallah. A man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, I have a lot of wealth and have family and have money, and we have also so many guests come to me because I'm wealthy, and travelers, people come stay in my place as guests for a few days. كيف أصنع وكيف أنفق? What should I spend? How should I spend? He said, صلى الله عليه وسلم, تخرج الزكاة من مالك فإنها طهرة تطهره. Give zakah, and this is a purification for you. وتصل أقربائك, and you give also to your relatives. We'll talk about this when we talk about sadaqah. But if Allah give you so much, your relatives have more right in your sadaqah or zakah or gifts than others. وتعرف حق المسكين والجار والسائل, and you need to know and recognize the right of the poor and your neighbor and the beggars, those who ask. They have right. Your neighbor has right on you, and those people who beg, you should give them. Right? As for the punishment for those who do not give, the Quran talked about them. وَالَّذِينَ يَكْنِزُونَ الذَّهَبَ وَالْفِضَّةَ وَلَا يُنْفِقُونَها فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ فَبَشِّرْهُم بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. Those who hoard and save الذهب والفضة, gold and silver, ولا ينفقونها في سبيل, they don't spend في سبيل الله at all. فبشرهم بعذاب أليم. Give them the news that they will suffer severe punishment. And the word yakniz or kanz, the word kanz in Arabic means treasure. But kanz is also a verb. Kanaza, yaknizu, kanzan means to hoard, to keep things, to save. So what's wrong with saving? Can't we save? We know that we're supposed to save someone. The saving itself is not the problem, but not giving the zakah of whatever we save is problematic. That's what the blame comes here. Having money and saving money is not a problem, but the problem is that when we don't give the zakah every year, we calculate the zakah properly and give part of it. But what will happen as a result of that? When the wealthy people don't share, they keep, they save. Because imagine if in one community there's 100 million, for example, and this 100 million is always most of them are held by the wealthy people. The result will be that the poor people will get very little, because you are saving, you are taking from this 100 million and saving, and you save. This 1% or 2%, extremely wealthy people will keep this money for themselves. So this money is not going to circulate in the society. Islam wants to get the money out of the safes for the sake of investment. This is how the economy grows. كَيْ لَا يَكُونَ دُولَةً بَيْنَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ. Very important verse in Surah Al-Hashr. للفقراء المهاجرين الذين أخرجوا من ديارهم وأموالهم يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوان. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, zakah and sadaqah must be given, otherwise money will circulate only between or among the wealthy people. Extremely wealthy man won't invest his money, he will invest it in building golf clubs. Who's going to come to these golf clubs? Another extremely wealthy people, right? And so on. And another one start business of very expensive cars. And now you have this circulation exclusively for these 1 or 2%. And someone drives a $200,000 car, and people do not have health insurance. They have really nothing to eat. When they get sick, they go to the emergency room, or if they have to go through surgery or something, they cannot afford. That's not fair. So that's not ethical. That's why zakah is a must, and those who do not give their zakah will be punished because they caused people to suffer. لا تحسبن الذين يبخلون بما آتاهم الله من فضله هو خير لهم بل هو شر لهم سيطوقون ما بخلوا به يوم القيامة. Those who do not share or do not give from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them, let them not think that that's good for them. Allah loves them and gives them so much. Because they think this money will save them, it's good for them. They should not think that's good for them. It's in fact very bad for them. سَيُطَوَّقُونَ مَا بَخِلُوا بِهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. So this money will come the day of judgment as what do you call this thing that we put in the head, in the neck of animals, huh? A collar, yeah, of fire around them the day of judgment. In the hadith, also in Bukhari and Muslim, Rasulullah ﷺ said, ما من صاحب كنز لا يؤدي زكاته إلا أحمي عليه في نار جهنم فيجعل صفائح فتكوى بها جنباه وجبهته حتى يحكم الله بين عباده في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة. The one who saves this gold and silver, it will become, this same gold and silver will become they will become pieces of gold and silver placed in the fire, and then he will be burned in his forehead, his sides, as the Quran says. في يوم كان until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finish the judgment between or among people. وما من صاحب إبل لا يؤدي زكاتها إلا بطح لها بقاع قرقر كأوفر ما تكون تستن عليه كلما مضى عليه آخرها ردت عليه أولها. And whoever has camels, big, a huge amount of camels, and he's not giving the zakah of these camels, it will come, all these camels will come, and he will be placed there in an even place, and all these camels will step on him until the last one comes. Then the first one will come back. He will keep stepping on him. وما من صاحب غنم لا يؤدي زكاتها إلا, the same thing will happen to them. The one who has sheep and is not giving its zakat, the same thing. It will step on him with its what do you call this? Hooves. Hooves. وتنطحه بقرونها, and they hit him with their horns. Another hadith also in Bukhari and Muslim, and Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, من آتاه الله مالا فلم يؤدي زكاته مثل له يوم القيامة شجاعا أقرع. This money will come also in the form of a scary snake. له زبيبتان, has two black dots in his head. يطوقه يوم القيامة ثم يأخذ بلهزمتيه يعني شدقيه ثم يقول, and this snake will tell him, I am your money. أنا كنزك أنا مالك. I am your money, I am your treasure that you did not spend في سبيل الله. So many other hadith also give the same meaning of the severe punishment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for those who do not give their zakah. So zakah is wajib. Wajib upon whom? We'll start talking about the technicality and we'll continue inshallah next week. But for now, zakah is wajib ala al-Muslim, al-Hur, al-Malik, al-Nisab. Every Muslim, adult Muslim, who owns the nisab, and this money is saved for 1 full year, then zakah becomes wajib. How about the money of orphans? Someone dies and he leaves a good amount of money to his son and daughter. Whoever is taking care of these kids and as a guardian for them, their uncle or anybody else, then he must. Rasulullah ﷺ said, don't keep this money uninvested. Otherwise, the zakah will finish it. So if the father left for his children, let's say $500,000, and these children are 2 years old and 3 years old, by the time they become 18, to take this money, most of this money will be given zakah. So Rasulullah ﷺ said, if you are taking care of the money of an orphan, then you have to make investment. So this money will benefit them when they grow up. All right. So nisab. What is a nisab? A nisab is the minimum amount of money that if you have, then you have to pay zakah. If you have less, then you are not wealthy enough to give zakah. There's no zakah on you. And as you can imagine, most of Muslims around the world do not pay zakah because they don't have nisab. Like the same people do not perform hajj because they cannot afford to make hajj. Two of the pillars, of the 5 pillars of Islam, are not fulfilled by many Muslims, not because they're lazy, but because they don't have money to make hajj or to give zakah. So the nisab is, for us here in America, that's 3 ounces of gold. They have been estimated in March 2017, this month, of $3,600. So if you have 3,000 or 3,600 dollars, then, or more, of course. This is the bare minimum. If you have this or more, then and you are saving this amount of money or more for a full year, then you have to spend 2.5% when the full year passes. Then it's time to spend your 2.5% of zakah. Nisab, for most of us now, we'll talk about other kind of wealth later, but for now, you need just to understand that this nisab, this is the nisab for us according to the gold price in these days. Also, it's important to know that the nisab, when we talk about the year, we talk about the lunar year, not the Gregorian calendar. So if you made money, $3,600 in Rajab, and this money next Rajab it became, let's say, 5,000 or 10,000. Then you have to take 2.5% of the total amount of money that's been saved and give this as zakah. If you have less than this, let's say someone's saving $2,000, put them aside for whatever reason, and the year passed, then there's no zakah upon him because he does not have nisab. He has less than the nisab. And of course, needless to say that nisab of the saved money, surplus, not the money that you need for your food, all these expenses do not count. If you make a lot of money and you're spending that's barely enough for your housing, education, clothes, and food, and all these kind of things, then of course you don't pay zakah for this money. How about those who have they pass away without giving the zakah? The ulama said that this is a debt that must be given before the distribution of the wealth. So when someone passes away, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah An-Nisa, "Min ba'di wasiyatin tusuna biha aw dayn." So when someone passes away, here is the wealth. The first thing to be given before the distribution, who gets what? Before this, is he in debt? Yes, he's in debt to this person and to that person. You have to pay this first. Even some ulama said that you have to prepare the person, the funeral, all these things must be taken from his wealth. Then pay off the debt to people and the debt to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the debt of Allah has more right to be paid than the debt of the people. You have to pay both of them, but the debt of Allah first. So if someone passes away and he left something behind, then if his people, his family know that he did not pay zakah for a year or two, whatever, they have to calculate this and take it away and give it, because this is the right of Allah and the right of the poor. It's haqqullah because Allah said so, and haqqul fuqara. This is the right of the people. This is an important difference between salah and zakah. In salah, if you don't pray, you are hurting yourself. You are not hurting anybody else. Right? But when you don't pay zakah, you are hurting yourself and you are hurting those who deserve this money. Right? All right. Is it okay to spend this zakah before the year comes? Let's say I got a phone call, your cousin so and so, was in a car accident and he lost his job and he's not working. So now I have still 4 or 5 months for the time to pay my zakat. Can I pay it in advance? Yes, you can pay in advance. Can we delay it? No, we should not delay it. Again, because this is the right of someone. And Islam talks so much about giving people their right on time. Because the delayed justice is injustice. Right? So Rasulullah ﷺ used to ask his uncle, Al-Abbas, to give him his zakah for 2 or 3 years. He's a businessman, has a lot of money, so he takes the zakah ahead for 2 or 3 years to give it to some poor Muslims who are in need. So we can pay our zakah, and you have to take notes of that. I pay, like, let's say $700 here, I give it to this cousin with the niyyah of zakah. So when the time comes, you calculate how much you have. If what you have, or the 2.5%, let's say 600, so you are covered. We pay even more. If what you have to pay is 1,000, you pay only 300 because you already paid the 700 before that. I will stop here, inshallah, and if you have questions, inshallah, next time we'll talk in more detail, inshallah. Yes. We're talking about cash. Generally speaking, any money you save in the form of gold or cash or stocks or property is different. We'll talk about property. Property, it depends. If you are living in this property, then there's no zakat, of course. But if you are using this property to generate money, so let's say you have an apartment building and you are renting it, the money you make out of these apartments, then you have to pay, but not on the price of the property itself. If you buy a piece of land with the intention of selling it, the difference, by the way, could be very subtle. If someone buys a piece of land with the intention of building a house for himself, then no zakah. But if he buys this piece of land with the intention of selling it when the price goes up, then he has to pay zakah every year. If the year passed, it's like saved money. All right? And keep in mind, gold and silver is the same as cash, or cash is supposed to replace gold and silver. So we don't differentiate between the two when we talk about zakah and so on, because they're almost the same. That's a good question. I don't know. I have to ask and find out. If someone does not pay zakah for his entire life, should his family pay for? I mean, it's kind of difficult to calculate because every year has a different income. Maybe he makes some loss and profits. I don't know how can they do that for 10, 15, 20 years. I cannot imagine this, but I have to ask about this. I have not thought about this before. I don't know. Okay, so sorry. Yes. Renting? Ten? Okay. All right. So if you have 6 apartments, have you only 4 tenants, right? So again, I will go back to what I just said. You have to calculate from the moment you start saving money from this property. So let's say a builder built these units and you start renting it in March or let's say in Ramadan, right? And you start making money. You have to calculate by the end of the year. Once you have the nisab, let's say if you have the nisab in the first day of Ramadan. So you have to wait for next Ramadan and make a calculation of the total you have after all expenses, utilities, bills, taxes, whatever is saved, then you have to pay 2.5% on this. But if you buy these properties, let's say for $1 million, this $1 million is investment. Islam encourages this. You don't have to pay for the price of the property, even if you pay them in cash. You pay only what comes from the investment. Is this clear? Sometimes you don't make anything. So again, you have to go back and see how much money you saved for the whole year, and then you pay it. So sometimes you make money, sometimes you lose, sometimes you make so much, sometimes you make little. And again, if the money stays with you for a year, 3,600 or $1 million, we pay the 2.5%. No, because this 10% applies only to farming. No. Renting, no. 10%? No, who said 10%? Why 10%? You're not doing anything, but you're taking huge risk. That's another important point. The philosophy of Islam is that al-ghunm bil-ghurm. This is a very well established legal maxim. It's called al-ghunm bil-ghurm. So when I give you money, you are the one who knows the market and business. I don't know anything about business. You want to start a new small business here, grocery store, let's say. I have no time, I have money. So you have the experience, you have the effort, but you don't have money. So I give you the money and we are partners now. Don't tell me you're not doing anything. No, I'm doing it. I'm giving you money, I may lose this money. So I'm taking risk. And you are putting your effort, expertise, your time, and then it's fair to share the profits according to our agreement. But to tell me that you're not doing anything, no, I'm doing something. I'm giving you the money I worked hard to make, right? Okay, so two opinions here when it comes to stock markets in particular. Some said that you pay 2.5% of the profits you make as a result of this stock market, the stocks we have invested in. And others said, no, this stock itself is money. So if someone bought stocks in different companies for, let's say, $25,000, it's a big amount of money, right? So why the poor and the needy are prevented from it? What if someone bought stocks for $1 million? So this $1 million stays there and only pay. What if you do not make profits? The question here is, do you apply you consider these stocks as money or as investment, and therefore like the apartments that we talked about? Two opinions. I personally prefer that people pay on their stock because this is the right of the poor people, and regardless whether we make money or not, because in the end of the day, if you are investing in this stock market, this means that you are wealthy enough and are saving this money, intentionally saving this money for the whole year, and you are hiring someone to invest this money for you. So whether you save it at home, you buy gold, you keep it cash in the bank, still the poor people should get their share of this. Again, the two opinions. Some said only 3 and others said 13. So I am with the opinion of paying for the 13. Because this, sorry, I have to say that. You pay on again, you have to wait, the criteria is the whole year. So if you pay 10,000 here and next year this same 10,000, you give the zakat. And next year become 13, next year become 15, and so on. But the entire year has to pass for the money you saved. And people ask good question here regarding the money, because sometimes if you are in business or you have different incomes, then sometimes you have you pass the nisab by far, and some other time you're going to spend this money buy a car, for example. So and sometimes you make more than the nisab, and the money goes up and down, up and down. And perhaps in the last month, would you pay, in other words, your nisab multiple times in the year? Every time you make money and you saved it, there's a nisab in Rajab, and then there's a nisab for Sha'ban. Or you look at the entire year and see how much money you saved, right, and pay this. I think the second way is more practical. The first way is also possible, but it is not everybody can do this, because you're going to end up having 10 or 15 nisabs. So it might be difficult for you, but it's the easier and inshallah correct way is to look at the entire year, regardless of the money you made and loss and expenses and so on, and then look at the end of the year. That's why many people, they like to choose one nisab or one time, and every year they see how much they saved, and then they pay the 2.5%. Also, some people try to go around the law and Rasulullah ﷺ warned against this. Because what happens is that if you, as we said before, you buy this piece of land with the intention of waiting for the market to go up and then sell it and make money. So now this piece of land, let's say, equal to $50,000. So the person buys it, and before the end of the year, he gives it to his wife as a gift, or to someone else. Okay? And then they take it after that. And then you wait for another year. So, and years pass by and they don't pay their zakah. That's haram, of course, because you are trying to go around the law. That's inappropriate. Allah. Yes? I don't know. I don't know if this. Are you thinking that does it take the same hukm? Yes, I believe so. I believe so. I know that many people ask this because they said we have no access to this money, right? So therefore, how can I? Yes, you are saving this money willingly in such way, and you have a contract. You are not going to touch this money. It's a saving. And again, if you have a save at home, and every month you put some money and close it, or give it to someone else, 401k, whatever, you are saving money. You are saving money in one form or the other. And you know that you're not going to have access to this unless after 15, 20 years, whatever. So again, you are saving money. If all wealthy people have these retirement plans, and the poor people will be waiting for 20 years for you to give them one time once you get them. I don't think that's fair, because you are willingly saving this money, and this money is saved, meets the criteria, two criteria. One, it's above the nisab. Two, the whole year passes by. Then zakah must be paid. Yes. Absolutely. Saving money for education of your children, saving money for your hajj or umrah or whatever the intention is. Money saved, the whole year passes by, this means that you're wealthy enough. You eat and drink and travel and buy clothes and all these, and after all these things, you still have this money, then you have to pay it. It does not matter. It is your money. It is your money. It's not his money. You know, the names, these are technicalities. But it is you who are taking this money, putting it, saving it. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Again, there are two ways to do that. The safe way is to pay for the 10. And next year, inshallah, Allah will bless this money, will be 20, then you pay for the 20. And just two things to keep in mind. One is that we are paying very small percentage, very small, 2.5. We always think about 2.5, but we forget about the 98.5. So we have, alhamdulillah, so much. Number two is that there are people over there waiting for this. Empty stomachs, orphans, widows, people who rely on this. So we just need to be more generous and even give more. The more you give, the more you get, inshallah. If you make it once a year, then do it this way. Whatever extra saving you are making, 2.5%. Inshallah, we'll talk more about who should receive this money and what kind of zakat, what kind of wealth, and we're going to go over it quickly because we don't have cattle here or but we'll mention them quickly. But we'll focus on gold and silver because this is what we have now in form of this bank note, right? Why? I will answer this next week, inshallah. All right? But the simple answer is because God said so. Allah said that in the Quran. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله